Alright guys, so I've made 2 previous videos talking about how broken Firebase Z is just to get installed and to start playing, right? If that's what you're here to see, go click on one of the previous 2 videos. Those will hopefully help you out, read some of the comments, some of the other problems people are having. It's not a guaranteed fix, but hopefully that will help you figure all that out. Now that being said, this video is to rant about once you get the map installed and are ready to do the Easter egg and all of that, the Easter egg is so incredibly broken. So I was going to do a tutorial walkthrough type thing, and it's too late for that, seeing how many there are out there, and a lot of you guys in the comments have kind of figured it out yourself and are having the same broken issues that I'm having. So, well, this is going to be a walkthrough running in the background of us doing the Easter egg. It's not going to be a step-by-step guide. That's definitely easy enough to find out there. But so let's just jump straight to my problem with the Easter egg, my main problem. And so about halfway through, there's a certain task you have to do. You have to capture mimics, right? The big things with tentacles. And you have to capture them in specific locations. And so this is my problem. So I didn't want to get too detailed and make this an hour-long video, but I don't care. So you have to capture 3 mimics in front of Garage, 1 on the Sky Bridge, and 1 above the Pack-a-Punch in Peck's quarters. And so 1 spawns each round, theoretically, if it works. And that's the first problem that I guess we'll get into, right? Sometimes they just don't spawn. So, I mean, we can get to that step in probably wave 8 or 9, right? And we'll be sitting there 10, 15 waves just trying to do this one step, right? And that's because sometimes they just don't spawn. If you kill one of the ones that you were supposed to capture, then it kind of just breaks the system entirely and they stop spawning. And it doesn't sound like a difficult step when you just look at it without having played it, right? If you haven't gotten this installed yet, you haven't tried it yourself, you might think that we're just absolutely crazy. But when you actually try to do it, and you're standing 1 person in each one of these locations, and the mimics just aren't spawning, so you're just capturing every single mimic you see, because the game is broken, and it's annoying, and you're trying to rush through this, and do it as quick as possible, right? It just breaks, and it's frustrating, right? So that's the first problem I want to talk about, right? That's the mimic problem. That's the main problem I'm seeing a lot of people have, okay? The second problem I have with, I guess, staying on the topic of the Easter egg just sucks, right? Like, the boss battle isn't that cool. The wave 30 defend wave thing is significantly cooler. I don't like the boss battle. It's really stupid, and it's lessened by another problem we'll talk about later. But let me just rant about the Wonder Weapon really quickly. So not only does it suck, but it's a pain in the ass to get, right? And not only do I hate the choice that you have to wait until wave 15 to get the last part, and then 2 additional waves to charge the part. So technically you can't even get this weapon until the earliest at wave 17. And so the Wonder Weapon kind of ties in to my Easter egg problem, is that typically within a zombies Easter egg, or just a zombies map in general, you have 1 task or 1 part of the Easter egg, whatever you want to call it, where you have to do something that's maybe tedious, or it could be here, here, or here, or, you know, one of those harder tasks, and you know what I'm talking about on most of them, right? But the problem with Firebase Z is that that's all of them, right? Because staying on the Wonder Weapon, right, it can spawn on a Mangler on wave 15. That doesn't mean it will. So you're just sitting there killing every Mangler, having to pay super close attention to what it drops, and you could just wait and wait and wait. I want to say got to 17 or 18 before it dropped the magazine. So now you're looking at wave 20 before you get the Wonder Weapon, right? And so stuff like that that's just not determined by the player, in my opinion, is just really annoying, right? You're just sitting around waiting for this boss to drop this part so you can go and progress further. And unless you're doing trials, which we'll get to in a minute, or running the box, which we will also get to in a minute, it's impossible to progress in the Easter egg. There's a certain part of the Easter egg where you need the Wonder Weapon to progress. And you can get to that part before wave 15, right? If you know what you're doing and you're speedrunning and the mimic thing actually works like it's supposed to the first time, you can easily complete pretty much the entire Easter egg except for the part you need the wonder weapon for by wave 10, 12, again, if everything works correctly. So, let's talk about more about the wonder weapon with these trials and the mystery box and all of that. And so, the way the wonder weapon works, you have to build it, right, with the magazine that we've been talking about, but you can also get it through the mystery box and through running these trials, okay? But you're not guaranteed, obviously, through the mystery box, and even if you get legendary through the trials to get that wonder weapon. And so here's my problem, right? We ran so many trials. I think it took me 4 trials all the way to legendary. So that's actually, I want to say, 12 trials probably. And just no wonder weapon, right? It's very, very one-sided, it seems, to if you get the wonder weapon or not by the trials. And same thing with the mystery box. I mean, I've had a friend who we've played with that twice, the first time he went to the box, he got the wonder weapon. But none of us have, ever seen it. We're running trials left and right trying to get it. And so just getting the wonder weapon all around, especially since it's not the final step at least, a player action. It's more of a waiting for the Mangler to spawn and drop the magazine, whatever wave it is. And it's annoying because if you miss the magazine, you're going to be running around the map looking at the floor while zombies are chasing you for a magazine, or you're just going to... It's a pain, alright? But we're not here to talk about the wonder weapon. So again, my biggest problem with the Easter egg is that part with the mimics. We have to capture them in specific locations, they don't spawn, and it's broken, and it's stupid, alright? But there's other annoying, well, admittedly less annoying, but annoying broken pieces to it. Again, if you even get into it. Something small at the end is you have to use a computer to line up a satellite, and if on console at least, your field of view isn't lower than the default field of view, you can't see the computer whenever you're accessing it. So again, that's not a huge one, but that probably throws some people off. And so something that kind of annoys me here is when we were doing this Easter egg for the first time, there weren't any guides out because it had literally just come out, right? And so you can get relatively far in this Easter egg just running around, talking to Peck and the guy in the town and just interacting with stuff around the map. But the mimic thing, again, going back to the mimic thing, you can't, there's no way to figure that out without just looking it up, right? I don't even know how you're supposed to figure that out. And so stuff like that is annoying. The next step after that, you have to collect a zombie head. And again, finding that, I guess technically you could do without looking it up. It would be a pain, so we'll give that one a slide. But there's a crystal step where you have to dig up crystals, and one of the 3 crystals, each one has a specific task they have to do. And one of them, you have to just look at the smoke around the crystal and see which one, doesn't have the same colored smoke as some of the other ones. And again, without guides, some of these are just absolutely impossible to figure out on your own. And so we've gone through the Easter egg part of it, and the Easter egg just sucks as a whole, right? Like, the boss fight isn't good. I think the default boss fight on the Diarize map, where you have to defend the big monster dude, significantly better, in my opinion. I think the Wave 30 big giant monster wave defense thing, that's cooler than the end Easter egg boss fight, but that's just me. That's, up to your opinion. But let's talk about the performance of Firebase Z.
Fucking derpy.
God, I hope we don't have to fight in this town.
That's some good fight.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some good textures. Oh, there's no
just
color.
have
It's just
wheels.
wheels.
He just has wheels.
Play-Doh wheels.
Whoa!
It's an it.
Oh, God. Didn't we already fight one of these things?
Whoa!
This would be cool if I had textures.
What is that?
Alright, well, someone
That looks awful.
Oh, we're
Play-Doh ones.
Yeah, we're racing, right?
Wait, there's grenades better? Oh God, there's other things.
Yeah, why are the textures so awful? Alright, and while it's funny, right, that the game looks like Play-Doh and it looks terrible, I mean, look at the sky, it's just freaking out, right? It's not really an acceptable thing from a company that makes billions of dollars on microtransactions every year. But that's just me. Again, a lot of you won't care that the textures freak out, but to me, it's just something that really bothers me, right? It's like the smoke and fire glitch where whenever you ADS, just all of the effects around the map absolutely freak out. But speaking of ADS, let's talk about ADSing. And while all of my friends and everyone I was playing with and other people have talked about the textures and stuff, especially in some of the boss fights being absolute trash, not a lot of people have had the ADS problem that I'm having. And let me tell you, it's awful. Like, it's really bad. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, I can't show this problem off too much because my Xbox absolutely shut off when I do try to replicate the problem. So I don't want to be doing that. But essentially what happens if you have, or at least for me, any gun with any kind of zoomed optic at all, specifically thermal. Like, thermal is the worst, right? When you zoom in, the game enters Play-Doh mode, right? When you come out of the scope and within the scope. But not only that, the game just freezes completely. And I mean like hard cyberpunk style, just freezes. And then you come out of the scope, you're getting swarmed in a corner, and or at least hopefully it unfreezes, or your Xbox just shuts off, right? And this is something that on next gen, this isn't a next gen thing. This isn't an Xbox console thing. This is a Activision. This is a Treyarch. This is the game, right? Because it's not like Cold War Zombies is pushing this Series X to its limits, right? And I mean, there can be a lot of zombies on screen at once, but they can also be no zombies on screen and it having these problems. So again, if graphics and all that stuff doesn't matter to you, like some of the past things I've been talking about you won't care about, but to me, it bothers me a lot, along with the mimic thing. And again, that is the big takeaway from this video, is the mimic thing just being absolutely broken and unbalanced, along with the wonder weapon and just the end fight not even being all that satisfying, right? Especially if you have really good guns and that attempt you saw right there where we just did that final fight for the Easter egg was our first attempt doing it. So we were way up there in levels, right? We didn't know what we were doing. It took us forever to get there, along with stuff breaking, right? Again, like I was saying earlier with some of the miniature boss fights, right? If you get lucky enough to where nothing breaks, you know what you're doing, you can get to the final boss fight by maybe wave 20-ish, and you'll absolutely melt them, right? And so just all around, it could be cool. Like this part, right here, this defense part, really like this, but everything else, not a big fan of. The map design is cool, but just the Easter egg itself is kind of disappointing. So that's pretty much all I have to say for Firebase Z. I'm tired of talking about it. I've never really been the biggest fan of zombies, but this is definitely a step down from what we're used to. So it's time to put Cold War on the back burner until their next failure of an update, and we'll be back to Cold War. See you guys on the next one.